Hey guys, North Pro in here, and welcome to another video. And today we're going to have another Trippy and Surreal. I really enjoy this series, so I'm just going to pump out more of this shit out. And we're doing this on Uzumaki. So for all the normal-ass people here, Uzumaki is this manga series that released weekly, or maybe monthly, I'm not sure, but it released in a Japanese magazine. And pretty much it's just a trippy-ass manga series. So let's start this shit out with the author. So Junji Ito is a manga artist who of course lives in Japan, and for the past 30 years he's pretty much just making some of the best horror short stories ever known to mankind, and this shit is just great. Some personal recommendations have to be Tomei, the Puppet Master, and of course Uzumaki, but let's get into that right now. So Uzumaki is a series of graphic novels, and pretty much it's 3 issues. It's a pretty quick read, and it revolves around this Japanese town, and it has this curse on it, and pretty much it revolves around the shape of a spiral, or not really a shape, but the design of a spiral, and in general just strange shit happens. And I'm not going to be too graphic in this video, because for all I know there could be like 6-year-olds watching this shit, but I'm just warning you, this series is not for the faint of heart. Just to show you like a little bit of a glimpse into some of this shit. So in one of the chapters, doctors are pretty much putting babies back into pregnant women. And yeah, that's fucked up, man. But that's just a part of Uzumaki. It's some strange ass shit. And I would not be surprised if Mr. Ito was blazing that shit while coming up with the concepts for this manga series, because pretty much this shit is just strange. I'm going to give you a spoiler now because I think you should just go into this series without knowing anything, but I'm going to describe the final chapter of this manga series, and it just gets goddamn crazy up in here. So you've been warned. So in the final chapters of Uzumaki, what happens is this town that's been affected by the curse begins making this building out of just all the scrap materials in the whole town, and they make this spiral building, and pretty much they all just start cramping up into this building, and somehow they get tangled up in each other. So pretty much you have like these human bodies that have twisted and contorted to the extent where it's they're like, have you ever eaten like curly fries or some shit like that? And yeah, they're all like mixed up and shit like that, and it's just insane. And I know I'm just rambling like a madman here, but it's difficult to describe, man. So the main characters are pretty much walking in the exterior of this building, and they get to the core, or like they get to the core of the spiral, and pretty much it's this giant hole that leads to this Lovecraftian-esque landscape where pretty much you see on the floor. I know this is kind of like a bullshit description, but like, do you know like that soul sand from Minecraft or some shit like that? I know you're going to hate my ass for comparing it to that, but think about like that, but it was like 10 times more realistic, and like it was just disturbing. Like there's just like pretty much the floor of this landscape is just bodies stacked and stacked upon each other, and pretty much in the sky you see like these twisted faces, and pretty much in cosmic horror fashion, the main characters just give up, and they just give up, and they're just like, fuck it, and they just stop struggling, and they let the curse consume them, and that's the end of the story. So there's much more to Uzumaki, and I'd say that every chapter is kind of like a concealed story in a sense, except for like I'd say chapter 15 to 20. Then it kind of like starts overarching. But in general, I don't really want to spoil everything for my viewers because I really think that you should experience it for yourself. Even if it's very grotesque and it is vile as shit. But I still think that just the experience of looking at some of this artwork is just amazing. And let's get into my favorite part about this series, the art. So, just to get started, let me just put this out. Junji Ito has to be my favorite artist of all time, and if his artwork wasn't as disturbing, I'd hang this shit up because it is amazing. The detail that he puts into every single panel is just brilliant. Know how I said that Ito was most likely doing some sort of drug when he came up with the concept for Uzumaki? He definitely was sober as hell when drawing this art, because this art is just, it's so precise. Like, it, at moments it is photorealistic, and I'm not exaggerating the shit at all. It is really that amazing. This is really highlighted throughout Uzumaki, because pretty much Uzumaki, it might seem like a very strange concept having the spiral pretty much be an antagonist, but once you get into like the nitty and gritty of that symbol, you realize where Junji Ito with his art takes that symbol, and he takes it to places you would never think. I'm sorry, but I cannot do this art justice, and you just have to look at it for yourself. So pretty much, I'm going to end this little section right now, but I'm just saying, make sure you check out some of his artwork because it is goddamn amazing. And while you're at it, just check out the manga too. Just torrent that shit, I don't really care. But with that out of the way, let's get into another great aspect of this series, the symbolism and just the brilliance in general. So anyone with the normal brain capacity could probably infer that I think that Uzumaki is brilliant, and Uzumaki is goddamn brilliant down to each single panel. What I think Uzumaki gets down to a T is the escalation of the plot. So at the beginning of Uzumaki, the curse isn't at full force yet. It's just kind of affecting daily life. And yeah, there might be some strange shit, like some man going insane over the spiral symbol itself, and pretty much his wife gaining pretty much a phobia of the spiral symbol to the point where she goddamn cuts out a part of her ear because it just happens to have a spiral inside of it. But as the story escalates, and as the curse becomes stronger and stronger, you get shit like people turning into snails, you get typhoons coming out of nowhere, and this all escalates to pretty much a Lovecraftian as hell ending, where you're just like, what the fuck, what the hell am I reading right now? And it's just extremely interesting to just watch how this curse becomes stronger and stronger until a point where it might as well be goddamn God. Another thing I find really interesting about this piece is just what Ito does with the spiral. So like most sane people, you don't fear the spiral, and most of the time you don't even notice the spiral in your futile existence. But believe it or not, the spiral is goddamn everywhere, down to how the universe is shaped. Somehow, Ito is able to turn such a simple and pretty much meaningless symbol into this symbol of godlyhood, and this symbol of fear, and this symbol of grotesque, and in general just, what he does with the symbol is just unbelievable. After reading this story in pretty much a weekend, I went outside and I was blown away by all the spirals I was finding, and I was creeped the fuck out whenever I saw a spiral. You're not going to look at the Billy puppet from Saw the same way ever again after reading this story, because you're going to be like, Uzumaki, those goddamn spirals, fucking Uzumaki. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to do with this video. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, I just want to say thank you for just making me a part of your day. I know that your day probably sucked today, because believe it or not, most days suck. But in general, I hope I lightened your day up a little bit, and maybe if I brought an ounce of happiness to you, I'll die a happy man. And in general, just like, comment, subscribe, and down below, maybe you could put down, I don't know, just do something about Uzumaki. Comment down below, let's get a community going. I know that Junji Ito fans are very far and few, so let's get a community going. Come on, we can do that shit. We can do that shit. And I'm North Provolone, and read some Uzumaki, and stay enlightened.